I recently hosted a live workshop with my friend Jeremiah Lancaster, who is the founding partner with me of the sales coaching business called hubermethod.com. We did a live workshop. We had over 400 people live in a Zoom room where we discussed sales, how to close, how to gain trust, our 6-step method. And it was a really great webinar. I hope you enjoy. We're going to play it right here live for you. And if you want to reach out to Jeremiah, go to hubermethod.com. Thanks for listening. Jeremiah, let's try to deliver as much value as we possibly can with these nuts and bolts. And I think a couple things really stand out here. Speed wins deals. It's obvious when you hear me say that. But look, if you wait 20 hours after you get a lead, you're going to close it 20% less or 30% less or 50% less, depending on your industry, than if you get on a call that day while they're excited. Okay. Timing is everything. That's another important part. There's motivated sellers, and they're motivated for a very short window in time. When I'm in this market to buy something, I'm in that market. I'm very motivated for 3 days. And then I've made it. The purchase decision has been made. I've bought it. You have to catch the person at the right time. So what that means is continue to follow up. Professionally follow up a lot, okay? Just because somebody ignores an email doesn't mean you need to say, "Oh, I've sent you a bunch of emails. I wonder how you get back to me." No, it's just reminding them, "Hey, I'm here. You need me. I need you. Let me know if we can do business together. See if our circles overlap. You tell me." You're going to follow up, because if an important person ignores your email, or they ignore your DM, or they ignore your text message, it's because they're not in the market right then. It doesn't mean they're not going to be later. I've cold called on the phone and had a conversation with a storage owner in Newfield, New York. I talked to her for 2 years, talked to her every quarter for 2 years. And I was like, man, I am going to stop calling this lady. I'm done with this. This is just taking up way too much of my brain space. Boom. 24 months in, 2 years in, call number 8. She said, "Oh, you know what, Nick? I'm ready. Come see me." And we made a deal the next day, and we bought her storage facility. And it's been a great deal for us.
I think timing is one of those things that you can't perfect, but if you are not in market and if you are not following up with people, you will never time it well. You need to get more at bats than you can ever imagine. I had a prospect that I wanted to do business with really bad. He worked at a really cool company, and I wanted to train their entire sales team. I sent them a proposal. He ignored it blindly, just completely ignored it. Went totally ghost mode on me for 3 months. What I found out was, like, he was leaving that company, and he didn't want to tell me that he was leaving that company. I followed up into the abyss for again, another 3 months or so. Eventually he left. But he went to another company, and he said, "Hey, Jeremiah," he came back about 6 months later and said, "Hey, Jeremiah, I won't forget how frequently that you sent me messages, even though I was a ghost. I was dealing with some things internally, and I want to bring you into this organization. I have a budget now. I want to allocate it. I want to spend money with you," because he knew that I was going to consistently follow up with them, but I was also going to deliver value. I think another thing too, Nick, like whenever you think about speed wins deals, I heard an interesting stat that 78% of customers will buy from the first business that responds to their lead. They just want people that pick up the phone. They want people that answer and respond back to them. Don't wait 3, 5, 6, 7 days to get back to someone. The business comes in, schedule the appointment, get on the call, act faster. Even if you don't have all of your materials done the right way, even if you haven't beautifully researched everything, even if your deck doesn't look as polished, acting with speed will actually help you win more deals than acting more slowly and trying to perfect everything that you're doing.
I think also when you're following up, you can add little tidbits of value. What one of our sales guys does beautifully at the SEO agency, Bold SEO, it's a link building firm. He'll follow up to a lead where he had a conversation a month ago and say, "Hey, I'm just checking back in. And here's something that I learned. Like, here's your domain authority, and here's your competitor's domain authority. And also, here's a link that you could potentially build yourself. You don't need us. Reach out to this person. Get this link. It will help you. It will help you list better." And it's like, wow, okay, this person did a lot of work for no. They're adding value to me and expecting nothing in return. I think that's a beautiful thing. Now, let's talk very briefly about discovery and how many sales reps don't do any research at all before they get on a call. So many.
I think
like
so.
they messed it up.
They show up blindly to a conversation. I think like we live in the world of like instant information. We have tools at our fingertips that will tell you everything about someone in literally seconds, and you're able to just quickly type their email into Google. You're able to find out information from them. So showing up to a call without any context on who they are, what their business does, or even where they're located is going to start losing points for you immediately here. So discovery starts the second that the lead comes in. You want to augment that lead with as much information as possible. Do they have a LinkedIn profile? Where are they based? What does their business do? How many employees do they have? Start to create a thesis or a thought around why is this business inquiring with me? What could I potentially do for them? And maybe even have 2 or 3 ideas to present before you even get on the call. As soon as you start having that first conversation, a lot of people assume that like discovery is like a stage inside of their CRM or their Airtable, when really it's this continuous process that happens through every interaction. So the clues that they leave you in their email, the form on their inquiry form, the conversation that you have with them, every single touch point that you have is an opportunity to learn a little bit more. And I think like people have to be naturally curious. And if you don't care, or if you're not curious about how that person's business ticks, and maybe you don't work in landscaping, maybe you don't work in, maybe you don't work in that industry, but you should start to understand how many mowers do you have out there today? How many clients do you have? And once you start to understand more and more about their business, it becomes a process where you're actually able to help solve that challenge for them rather than simply saying, hey, you should buy this thing because you inquired. That's not how business gets done. So always have an opportunity to be curious, ask questions about them, start from the moment the inquiry comes in to the moment that that person closes. These are discovery opportunities.
Yeah. And so we have 2 questions about cold leads, either cold calling or cold outbound. And let me just tell you that it is a confidence game and it is a numbers game. Okay. Do not get upset if, and this person says cold LinkedIn messages is his best way to get clients. Okay. Send 2,000 cold LinkedIn messages to get a client if you have to. Okay. Another person works in a private jet brokerage company. He's like, sometimes I feel annoying because I just keep following up. That's another thing where it's a timing thing. Somebody needs to get somewhere. And if you are top of mind when that happens, you will get a loyal client. It's a numbers game. Michael Jordan missed 27 game-winning shots. If you get emotionally tied to winning every sale, and if you get personally offended and emotional about losing business, you will not make it in this world. You turn on the game face, you play the numbers, and you do what you need to do to hit the numbers that know that you're going to hit the metrics that you're going to hit. So yes, absolutely. All this stuff applies to cold outreach and basically not warm leads. Now let's talk about owner sales versus hired sales. A lot of people here are trying to build a sales team. I want to talk in just a second about how you should train and coach your own sales team and how important that is. But let's talk about owner sales versus hired sales. Jeremiah, a hired salesperson and an owner, what's the difference in their closing percentages and how effective they can be?
I call it the halo effect. Every owner can sell their business better than any other person there. And they're usually like a magnet for the best kind of business. And if you've ever worked with like a really kind of like gregarious or kind of like, really fantastic kind of business owner, they're always connecting the business with more and more clients and more people. And the reason why is that you have to be the most passionate person. No one cares more than you as the business owner about the product, how it's structured, the people that are inside of the business, the way that you're going to get it. And that if you start to hire sales teams too early, what happens is that you're going to watch this like really stark drop off in close rates happening. And if you can't close business yourself, you should not hire a sales rep to help solve that problem for you. Even if sales is not your background, even if you don't consider yourself great at sales, you have to learn how to speak to customers and meet them where they are to solve that challenge. If not, you're going to fail. And I see this happen way too often. Business owners say, hey, I've got 3 people here. I'm focused on operations. I'm focused on delivery. I should not be selling. And that's the exact wrong thing that you should do. You should lean into selling. The more frequently that you speak to prospects and customers, the better you'll have the better of a chance that you'll have in closing that business, but also understanding what you should do with your product next, and then how you should actually address, what you're selling.
Let's I'm going to lay out a framework here that's I think is so critical because I'm very passionate about this. I think a outside salesperson should not be on your radar until you're 10 plus employees and at least $5 million of revenue. I think the owner of the business, the entrepreneur, the person who's running the show, in the early days, they should spend half their time delivering the product or service and half the time on sales. Okay. And that half the time on sales stays. And the other half of the time starts to shift between hiring and training employees and delivering the service until when you're at about 5 to 10 employees and 2 to 3 million a year of revenue, you're literally spending 100% of your time, half of it on sales, business development, and half of it on managing and hiring and recruiting employees. Okay. Then, and only then, when the sales is coming in too fast for you to recruit and hire, that's when you hire an outside sales rep. I've seen it 20 times, and maybe one or two of my buddies in network have been able to hire an outside salesperson very early on in their company. We tried doing it at several of our businesses, and it just doesn't work. When you have a new business, when you have a new service, and you get an outside salesperson in, there are several problems with it. Number one, the commission structure is going to be a mess because you don't know how they're going to be able to sell. Number two, the salespeople are the most expensive people in the workforce. So to hire a good salesperson, it's going to set you back a ton. Number three, they don't know your business like you know your business. And it just gets dirty when you're selling something where the processes and the systems for delivery are not clear. Okay, unless you're a big, well-oiled machine and your company has systems and processes, it's very hard for somebody who doesn't understand delivery. They're not involved in delivering the website, delivering the SEO, whatever it is. It's very hard for them to be an effective salesperson. Okay, somebody said, what would you do to get decision makers to meet with you faster? And look, again, numbers game. This is a numbers game, and you're going to try to add value. You're going to try to add as much value as possible, and you're going to try to prove that you're an expert. Another question, is your 8-second script basically the same for phone, email, DM? What about your other companies? And look, yes, I have an 8-second script at every single company. The 8-second script at AdRhino is, hey, we manage $200,000 a month of pay-per-click ads. We are reliable and trustworthy. For Bolt Storage, we have 1.9 million square feet, and we bought a property in the town next door. That's why you should sell your buildings to us. The engineering agency, we've done 1,000 cost segs this year. We're 30% cheaper than the competitors. And we've done everything from a 100K duplex to a $100 million industrial portfolio. That's the paragraph in the cold email, and that's the line on the phone when you're doing sales. So yes, the 8-second rule is prove that you're an expert and prove that you can be trusted and prove that you're a big deal in the first 8 seconds of a call or the first paragraph of the email. Works every time.
See, another great question here about following up and not feeling annoying, or using other channels to kind of consistently follow up. The one thing that we often forget about is that not everyone likes to respond to email. They may like a text, they may like a LinkedIn message, they may see something on Twitter. There's other channels that people can use, and by using them effectively, you're going to meet people where they are. And oftentimes people don't fail to respond to you because like they're not interested that day. It might just not be the right time. And understanding that if you consistently repeat that message over and over again, add value, you got to give, and then you can eventually ask for that get. And whenever you ask for that get, make sure you do it the right way, but you got to give enough first. And if you don't give enough first, people are not going to respond back to you.
Let's talk about coaching your people. Let's say that you do have a sales team, and I do now. At Bolt Storage, we have 3 full-time acquisitions folks, cold calling, and I coach them. Now, Jeremiah coaches them, and the Huber Method company in general coaches the people at my individual companies to do this stuff. But I want to tell you a story about a company called Movement Mortgage. If you've ever heard of this business, they do home loans. Okay, they got the red M, and they hire folks fresh out of college, or literally they take Starbucks baristas and develop them into home mortgage loan officers. Okay, they go into a town, and one of their keys is that they have an amazing coaching program from within, meaning every loan officer, they have an accountability coach, and they have a call and meeting, breakdown coach. And I was talking to a buddy. He was a great friend of mine here in Athens. He was running the branch for a really long time, and he grew it to one of the biggest portfolios in Athens. And the company in general over the last 10 years has just exploded. And it's all on the back of this program where every loan officer has a coach, and that coach gets on biweekly meetings with them. They review calls, they hold them accountable, they do follow-up scripts, they help them set goals. A lot of things that you need to be doing with your team.
Big news, guys. I created a free PDF that details my method on how I analyze a self-storage facility and figure out what it's worth. Give me a pen, the back of a napkin, and a couple metrics, and I can figure out about what the property is going to be worth to me. If you want to download this PDF, click in the show notes, the first link, and you can give me your email address, and you get a email right away with 4-page PDF that outlines exactly how I think about underwriting or giving my initial analysis on a self-storage facility. Again, click the link in the show notes and you're going to get that document for free. This episode of The Nick Huber Show is brought to you by RE CostSeg. If you want to maximize your bonus depreciation and minimize your tax liability, make sure to do a cost segregation study on real estate you've recently acquired. RE CostSeg offers the lowest priced, fully engineered studies in the business, and you get a virtual site visit with a quick turnaround. They did 30 plus cost seg studies for me over the past year, including a short-term rental, along with my self-storage facilities. And I'm also an investor in the business, along with my good friend and CPA, Mitchell Baldridge, who you all know. To learn more about how bonus depreciation works, listen to episode 75 of The Nick Huber Show, or visit recostseg.com to go ahead and get a free proposal that outlines the cost of the study and your potential savings. Thanks again, recostseg.com.